So Microsoft Teams is obviously a massive tool, and basically it's basically been designed for communication, content, and collaboration. And the whole idea is to bring your whole team together in kind of one place. And it's especially useful for projects and big projects that you're running with, whilst obviously during the current pandemic, because everyone can all collaborate together at the same time. So what we'll do is we'll just go through what these buttons do, how to create a team, how to use your calendar, schedule meetings, what you can do during video meetings, and we'll look at chat options, and yeah, we'll just look at a whole overview of what it does and how it works. So let's get started. To get Teams, first of all, you need to have the right Office 365 license. So the minimum license you can have is a Office 365 Business Essentials, which gives you Teams Online only. But today we're going to look at the desktop application, so you need Business Premium. To get the actual app itself, it would be to, let me share my screen. You stop sharing this and share my new tab. So go to Visual Studio Office 365 and you come to login. Now this is logged in with a demo account I created, but you get all these tiles when you first log in. So you click the Teams app tile. Now it usually comes up, I think it's either the first time you go into it, but it usually comes up saying, do you want to use a desktop app or do you want to use the web? And it's probably usually the first time you do it, and I've been in this one before, so I'll click web. But to get the app is right in the bottom left corner, you've got download there. You click that and it just starts downloading Teams. And then once it's downloaded, you click obviously run to install, and then you'd sign in as normal. But essentially the web version is pretty much the same as the desktop version, but it keeps everything nice in its own little application that can be separate rather than having a browser window open. So if I stop sharing that, and we'll go into the actual Teams itself. Cool, so we're back on Teams, we've got the app, we've signed in. So I think essentially what we'll go through first is the actual Teams button, because obviously it is Teams. So let's run through how we create a team. So bottom left, or bottom here, we've got join or create. Now you can join other teams that have been created, and members or administrators of that team can generate codes, and then you can just pop a code in there. So we'll say 1, 2, 3, 4 and join a team. But let's look at creating one from scratch. So these are the options you've got. You've got private, so people need permissions, like I said, that code to join. You've got a public team, and then you've got an organisation team where everyone in your organisation can automatically join. So let's make it private. And we'll call this like that. Create. So what this does and how Teams basically links into SharePoint. It kind of all integrates. So what this does is this will create an Office 365 group, and the Office 365 group comes with an Exchange shared mailbox, a calendar, and a SharePoint site. So once you've created this team, it will create its own little SharePoint site, and that's where all your files and stuff are all saved. And obviously SharePoint supports encryption, so it's a good way of doing it. So what we do is now is we will add people into the team. So Ralph and go. Let's add those in. So in here you can actually select what membership you'd like them to have. So a member, you can just obviously edit and add things to the team and basically be a member of the team. An owner can obviously play with the permissions, remove people, add new people, and that sort of stuff. So let's make James an owner and Ralph a member. And once you've done that, you just close.
Can I just ask?
Yep.
So when you've created that team, is it only open to people who are inside your organisation, or can you have a collaborative team with someone from another company, as long as they're as long as they've got a Microsoft subscription themselves?
Yeah, it would depend on your policy set on your 365 administrative, but you wouldn't really want a team with external people in. You'd probably, what you'd want to do there is you'd go into SharePoint and create like an external SharePoint site, and then just do direct access with SharePoint, because you can kind of lock that down a little further. Because if we go back to creating a team, if you go public, actually it says that anyone in the organisation can join. We don't want people putting things within the team. It becomes a little bit messy. You're better keeping it external, separate with SharePoint, if that makes sense.
Right, understood. So teams, very much collaboration within your organisation.
I would say so, yeah.
Right.
And then for external sharing, I'd go SharePoint, because you can be a bit more granular with the permissions and what you can set external people to do. It gives you a bit more control doing it that way.
Wonderful, thank you.
No problem. Cool. So teams, you can have 2,500 members per team and 100 owners. Now that may have changed because they updated teams last Friday, I believe, or Saturday. Microsoft rolled out an update, so I think they're still the figures as it stands, but I know they were looking at expanding it, so it may have changed. Like I said before, team owners can add new members, other owners, rename, delete, or edit, and that includes these channels, which we'll come on to in a second. And like I mentioned before, once it's created, it creates a separate SharePoint site which you can access via SharePoint if you wanted to. So this is now your team. It's created, so it's got Teams Training. So this is like your head of your team, and then here you've got what's called channels. Now your channels are basically designed for specific projects that a team may have. Now this general channel always stays the same, but you can add more channels. So we add one here. We might call that word training, and you can make channels private. So the idea is you could have, say if you had a sales team of 100 people, and then you wanted people to push a certain product, you could have 10 people say to one channel that just pushes that product, and then your general channel will be for everyone. So if in this team I wanted to create just a private channel called Word, and I know, well, James Powell isn't an expert in Word, so I'm not going to add him, but Ralph is an expert, so I'll add Ralph. And you may think, well, Ralph can own this channel, so I'll make him an owner. And then once you've done that, it goes there. So you can see the little padlock to show it's private. So within there, you can have things like you can post just to your team about specific word training, or let's do a certain font on our Word documents, etc. And in here, you can go to like the training team, if you like, and ask how things are going on. So they're the options you've got in channels, and that's kind of what they're used for. If we look at some more stuff we can do in here, so you can add members to the whole team if you're an admin. You can leave the team if you wanted to. Actually edit the name, get a link to give to other members if they're struggling to find it, or delete. You can also manage, and I think that's just to manage permissions again and change what people can and can't do. You can see requests, So if someone wants to be a member of this team, you can accept them in. Again, you can see the different channels in here and add members to those channels and etc. And then you've got settings, so you can add a team picture if you like, that'll go here on the left. You can change member permissions, and when we spoke about codes before, this is where you can generate codes for people to join. So you won't actually get a join request, but if you wanted to say an easy way of distributing it out to the wider team, you could just send an email around with that code on saying, can everyone in the sales team please enter join this team using this code, and you can obviously reset that code or remove it, copy it, do what you need to do. This just shows what's going on in the team. Messages, obviously there's not a lot to show at the minute because it's brand new, but it shows how many files you've got in there in the storage, what apps are in use, and that information can be pulled for the last 28 days. So it's quite good if you want to see how many messages have been going back and forth, or the kind of the files and the amount of sizes of files that are being saved. And then these are the apps that are integrated just by default. Forms, OneNote, Planner, which we'll go on to Planner in a second, and obviously SharePoint, and you can add more apps. There's tons of them, so I'm not going to go into it. As you can see, that's a pretty long list of apps and third-party apps and bots that can integrate into Teams. So it really is good for integration. Go back to this. So within a team itself, so you've got posts. Just about the box, you've got posts, files, and wiki. Posts I've just used to basically update the team with what's going on, share information. So you might say, I'll post to everyone in the team. Now, if you wanted just to specifically speak to someone within the team, you can use this little app mention and app mention someone within the team. Now, what this will do, we'll come on to it later. Is you've got an activity tab up the top there. Now this will show on their activity that they've been mentioned within a message. So for people who are in loads of different teams, it's really good just to specifically point out to them, and then they can get onto the messages they really need to see. If I go into files, hopefully this is created. Cool. So what this has done, this has created like a SharePoint site, and obviously in here now, just specific for your team. So you can create a Teams folder, and you can add Word documents in there. It's going to take us that Word document. And what's great about this is you can work on it within Teams, so you don't have to leave the application. And we'll get on to what you can do in the search bar up here, and while still working. Another thing they can do is where it allows collaboration is other people can jump onto this document as you're working, and you can kind of work together at the same time. So if I quickly come here, sorry, bear with me a second. Sorry, there we go. So I'm just jumping on my other account. So Ralph has just jumped on this document, and you can see here now that Ralph is actually working. So it's good if you've got like a massive, it's especially good if you're working in PowerPoint. If you've got like a big presentation the team's working on, or you've got a large document that you all need to work on together, you can all work on different sections at different times. So you could have like a section 1, and that could be assigned to Ralph. Section 2 could be assigned to me. Ralph will be able to see when I'm working on my section, on his, and likewise I can see when Ralph's working on his section, because you can see where he's been clicking, because his little initials will show. So you can keep out of each other's way, but work on the same document at the same time, and changes are just constantly live saving all the time, so they don't overwrite each other. So it's a good, quick way of working together.
And is there a limit on how many people can be in a document at the same time?
It's a good question. To be fair, I'm not too sure on whether there is. I imagine there would be, because I imagine if it's constantly trying to save with too many people in, that it would crash. Or if the document's really large, it would probably struggle. So I'm not too sure, but I would imagine it would have some form of limitation eventually. But I think it would more depend on the size of the document and what's in it, rather than the amount of people that can jump onto it. Cool. So that's files, and again, this is like an open. This becomes like a SharePoint site, so you can open it in SharePoint. And if I shared with you, one second, I'll just share that with you guys now. So you should be able to see that now. It's like a SharePoint site. Cool. So it opens it up on the SharePoint site. So what you could do, Monica, if you wanted to, rather than adding external people directly into the team, is just you could create like a folder in here, or another underneath documents, you could create like another library. And you could put in external, like an external folder, and then use SharePoint permissions to share that externally. So you could essentially, becomes a bit more complicated, but you can add members. Now outside of your organisation, they become guests. So if I try my own, right, I've not got the permissions on this one to do it, but you can enable the permission, and then you can basically add them in. Then you can pick what access that they need. May allow me to do it in here. Try this one. Let me try it again. There we go. So let me do it in there. So that's just give my other email address access to this, just to this part of the SharePoint site, to this external folder. So that'll be a good way of integrating with other people and third parties. Let me change screen back on Teams. Cool. So we've also got this thing called a wiki. Now apparently it's an Hawaiian word for quick. Don't know how true that is, but that's what Microsoft said it is. It's basically designed for putting project. I would say it's probably best for your project objectives. That's shared with the whole team, and you can put in here sections. So teams training. And then put in here basically whatever you want. So etc. Really good quick reference point for everyone to come in within the team and look at what their objectives are of the project as a whole. This is saved within SharePoint again. So it's encrypted, any notes in here are saved within SharePoint. So you get that encryption as well. Now I'll just give you So along the top, sorry, you can add more of these tabs. So you can have loads of tabs, as many as you want, and you can integrate all those apps that we talked about before as a tab. Now there's tons of them, and I've not really tested them all, but one that I have tested is really useful is this planner. Create a new plan. Cool. So what Microsoft Planner allows you to do is create like a section of to-do lists that you can assign to specific people within the team and set due dates on. So if you've got a big project coming up and you need it done, you can go team presentation to be done, you can set a due date of today, and you can assign that to the people within your team, and you can just add more tasks. And then Ralph will be able to see what's been assigned to him. And you know, you can always look at, there's different views here, so we can look at the schedule. Ralph will be able to see that's his and then work on it. Add any attachments in there for presentations, and yeah, it's just a really good app to use for a team. So you can add new buckets in there. So okay, you can have more tasks in there. So it's just a good way, I would say, of managing your team, especially remotely, and getting them doing what you need them to do.
And you've got a couple of different ways to view it, because I see there's charts and schedule.
Yeah. So charts, view, see the one task is not started.
Okay.
People can put things in progress. Things that have gone past the date will come up as late, and you'll be able to view those. Things complete can come up as completed. And then of course you've got your schedule, so it just shows a calendar view and what's coming up on each date, or what due dates are for tasks that you've set. It's just for me, it's just a nice way of being able to manage the full team all in one app.
So does that then flag up if, say you just assigned a task to Ralph in that example?
Yeah.
Does that then come up in the activity thing, like when you've added them on the channels, so that then if they go in the activity tab, they'll see stuff? And will it also be in their calendar as well to say you've this task due today?
Yeah, so they'll see that, and it'll be compatible across them all. So if I just jump into here, I'll just assign myself a task, and you can kind of see. So I've just assigned me a task, and straight away you can see that it's late. So if you look at that chart, it's now late, and on the schedule it's now red. Now, while you're away, it's come up saying I have a task set to me. It should show in my activity, and it's maybe not to be a lie. It hasn't. Hang on a second. It's not done it. No. It's always good when you try and test something or show something that doesn't work. 1 second. Should have shown up. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't. So I think probably what the best way of doing it would be. I honestly thought it did show up in your activity. So what you could do is go to the post of the team that you're in, and just add that person. So you could add game file, and then that way it would come up. Now, I don't know if there's plans to integrate that. I honestly thought it did come up in the activity. And I don't know whether it's just because I'm doing this video, it's decided it's not. But yeah, you see, so you can label tasks as well, different colour codes depending on what them codes might mean. So yeah, just a good planner of managing the team and what you can do. So there's more things in here. Another way of doing it is you can add a link directly to the website. So use if you wanted to. And then it pulls through the web page of BBC News. So quite useful if you've got say like a web app that monitors how many hits you get on your website, or if you're monitoring a certain aspect of a live forum or something that might affect the team. It's good. You can just have it there at the top. That in your team, everyone can just access. And yeah, you can go around to whatever you need to. Cool. So that's teams. Oh, within a team, and obviously there's so much more that you can do with all these apps, but we won't go through them all. And then over here you've got more stuff you can do. So notifications, so they're off. There we go. So notifications are off. So now they're on. That would now come up. That now makes sense. So they would now come up. And yeah, you've got different connectors. You can open up the team in SharePoint, so your file's easier. So that's pretty much the team's team, really, and how you can manage stuff. Have you got any questions or anything you need me to show?
No, that made quite sense, I think. So essentially, I can set up a team, I can, for different things, invite different people into it, and then we can collaborate on documents. I can notify them of different tasks, so I can set up a little project plan and assign people different things. And it obviously integrates not just with the Microsoft suite, but with the tools as well.
Yeah. Like I said, it's like the massive tool that it integrates with everything, and like it just keeps communication all in one place. And I think that's massively important, especially for data security. You've not got data flying between data and everywhere. Everything's just within one. So it's a nice way of working. So if I move on to the chat. So chat's just basically instant messages between you and colleagues, and essentially you can do it just to get a quick update from someone, or have a private conversation, send them stupid gifts if you really wanted to. There's loads of things you can do in there. So just to start a new chat, pen at the top, and just keep using Ralph. Now this would come up in his activity. Now what you can see straight away when we'll go on to it is, now I spoke to him, you can see his little icon here that says away. Really important within a team that you set though, and we'll go on to it in a second, but it's basically up here. It's good for your team to set the presence of where they are, so you know where they're up to, when to call them, when not to call them, etc. Again, you can post files in here and share things with them. Within a chat, and so obviously same with the posts within Teams, you've got all these options down the bottom, and yeah, you can format text, put in long paragraphs, probably better for when you're posting to the team. You can attach files, or you can just drag and drop them in from File Explorer. Send emojis if you wanted to. Like I said, silly GIFs. You got stickers. Now what's quite good is you can actually schedule a meeting directly from within a chat. So if I was talking to Ralph, if I was talking to Ralph and we were having a conversation, Ralph said, "Oh, let's schedule a meeting for that." And click this button here, and it just schedules a meeting straight away from within that chat. So I can say, put in Ralph, time the catch up, and just click send, and then it takes you straight back to that. So that'll then integrate directly with your calendar, his calendar. He'll get an email as well to say you've been invited to a meeting, and it's just nice that you can do it all within one view. You don't actually have to leave the view. And then again, you've got more apps that you can add to the bottom of this list if you wanted to, that integrate into the chat. So you've then got a video, audio, share screen, and you can add people in. So these are basically designed for instant calling, instant video, and obviously instantly sharing your screen with them. And so if Ralph on the chat said, "Oh, give me a quick call," you don't have to go into, say, your activity page and your calls button. You just go click call, and it's there. If you want to add people into the chat, you can add someone in. Once you've added that person in, you can see on the left it's created like a new chat window, so they don't see anything previously that you've already put in. So it basically starts a brand new conversation, but it's just a quick way of adding people in and doing that. And again, all the same options, put files in and do whatever you need to do. So it's quite a nice instant message format and really simple to use. Any questions on this? Or
that seemed fairly straightforward, and when you were setting up the meeting I noticed that it came up with suggested times, because I was going to ask, well, does it just read your calendar, both your calendars, or if there's 3 or 4 of you, and then it can just say, actually, you should all be free then to help you. Yeah,
so I'll go on to, it moves us nicely into calendar. So this integrates with your Outlook calendar. So this isn't my main account, so you won't see everything that was in there, but if it was, you'd see everything that I've popped in an Outlook, and obviously anything that popped in Teams, and it populates both ways. So anything you put in Teams puts in Outlook calendar, and the other way around. So in here you've got the nice new meeting button. So you've got schedule meeting, and you've got live events. Now live events is Teams' webinar option, which I know we spoke about before, but we'll just go for meetings for now. You can put people in there. So you can see on Ralph's status that he's actually gone red. So that's probably because he's in another meeting, because obviously I sent him one earlier. And like you said, it gives you those suggested times, reading other people's calendars. So if I go suggested 2 o'clock, you can see now Ralph's not gone red, he's now open, he's available, and you can pop that in. So it really aids instead of going that back and forth with people and finding the right time. It's nice and simple. And you've also got this little button at the top for the scheduling system. Now this pulls through what people are up to and what actual meetings they've got. You can see that Ralph's got that catch up, so you can do it there. And yeah, you can add more attendees in here, add a location in here. So it's a nice view, and probably more advanced than what your Outlook calendar can show you, because you can just see other things. So you've got time zones you can pick. Let's grab that. Calendar itself, you can, a second, show me a weekly view. There we go. So you can just see day, week, or just your work week in one nice view. Should be an option to see. Yeah, there we go. And if you're scrolling across, or different days, different weeks, you just go back to today. and it takes you right back. Take a look. So like we said about a live event, so we'll quickly go into it because there's a lot of questions around live events at the minute because everyone's trying to find the best webinars and the best ones to use, but we'll just quickly go through how you set one up. So you give it a title, course, location, time, etc., and you can pop details in about your live event. But what you have over here is you're the producer, you can make yourself a presenter, and you can actually invite people in. Now these people can be external as well, and you can set external people to be a presenter. It does rely on that person having Teams, because if they don't have, I think so anyway, I don't think it'll give them an option to present. Don't have Teams, but I need to check on that. So cool. So this is where you can make public. Now what this will do is it'll give you like a link, and then you can share that to basically anyone, however you want it to do. So if you want it to just be an open webinar to everyone, you could post it, say on your LinkedIn if you really wanted to, and they could click through and just join that event. You have options down here. So recording. So you can have recording available to producers and presenters. You can have recording available to attendees if they wanted to record it, but of course you can turn that off. You have captions that it can be on. So once it has been recorded, you can have obviously subtitle into different languages. It can tell you what people are saying, and you can choose up to 6 different languages that it can translate to. So it does give you, to be fair, a lot of options. And obviously you can pick your spoken language. You've got an engagement report at the end, so who's on. You can also enable a nice Q&A. And then there's your link for anyone who needs help. But obviously you can change that to anything. You could set up a web page if you wanted to and have anyone who's having troubles logging in, and they can just get that. You can share that link out with people if they're having problems or need support. So you can schedule that. Cool. So there's your attendee link, and that's copied to your clipboard. You can see who's organizer and who's a presenter, and then this is what they'll see. So they'll see a little invitation message that you put in there, but I didn't put one in, and then join live event. Now I've got a certain package on this where you can, it gives you a phone number as well, but it is for higher packages, so you can get a phone number for people to ring in and use a conference ID if they didn't have Teams and they just want to listen to what was going on. So if I join that. Sorry about that. Thought it might have let me show you the live event and what you can see, but it put you on hold, so sorry about that. Cool. But basically in there, once you can see it, it's a bit like a Teams meeting, but you can queue. So you can queue things that can show to the user. So you can queue things like presentations, you can queue different presenters to come into next. So it gives you a nice flow. And then within that, you can have like Q&A sessions. And you can see different chats, and yeah, so it gives you a nice webinar options. If I open up this meeting, I'll show you what you can do within a meeting. Can you now see yourself on quite a big screen? Can you see the meeting?
I can see you, and then I'm in the corner of the screen. But I don't know if there's a slight delay or something.
Alright, okay, let me try this now. Can you see it now?
Yes, I can see that now.
Cool. So these are the options you've got within within a meeting. So obviously turn camera off. It should have made me disappear. And you can turn that back on. And then in here now you've got loads of different options. So you can show meeting notes. So you should be able to see notes down the left, and you can start making notes of. Can you see my screen? Yeah.
I can see the notes tab, yeah.
Yeah, cool. And then you can see conversation. So you can have a conversation during the meeting. And then once we have that conversation, it'll open it up into a different chat. And you can chat in there after the meeting's been had. And yeah, you can do all sorts. So you can change your background. I know we were looking at this before. So if you've got like a whiteboard on with loads of information, you can blur your background. And yeah, you can preview what different backgrounds will look like as well. And then you can apply them and turn your video back on. And you can see I'm on the beach. I wish. And then just turn them off. It's quite useful if you've got information in the background you don't want people to see. Obviously you can see I'm recording, but you would have the option to start recording, stop recording, and you can also, if you've got loads of people in the meeting, you can turn off incoming video, so you don't get to see everyone who's there. So there are different options within a meeting, so I can see that you're muted, and yeah, and pin. So go back onto Teams. So if I go to activity, so I mentioned it before, activity just like a notification feed, if you like, just shows you the things that you can see, obviously the main things that are the most recent things that have happened. So that's where someone's called you and you've missed it, sent you a message via the chat, mention you in a team, like an app post I mentioned before, and should also now give you when you've been assigned a task in the planner. Now we'll turn the notifications off. So this will fill up. The more and more you use Teams, the more and more it fills up. And then you can filter on certain activity as well. So if you go to your feed, you can filter on missed calls, you can filter on app mentions. I use more than anything really, because then you can just see what's relevant to you rather than seeing replies back and forth within a chat. Anyone who's reacted to anything you've sent. Now if I just go back to chats, one thing you can do within the chat. Hold on a second. Well, what you can do is react to people's chats. Now this little ellipsis actually gives you an option to mark as unread, and again, back in your activity you can filter on things that are unread. You can also save messages. Now, what's good about that is if you come up to what's called like the status button at the top, is you can view save messages, and it comes up with that one obviously as hello. Now the more you save, the more this list will grow. So I would try and save things that are relevant. You can just unsave. Back onto here. So like I mentioned before, great tip of ours, to be honest, for anyone using Teams, is to get people used to setting their presence of where they are, and you can put a little status message of what they're doing. So now what that does is, if Ralph, for example, wants to try and ring me, he could see, yeah, my presence isn't presenting, I'm doing Teams training, and he'd think, no, I won't ring him. It's useful, to be honest. It's something that we got used to using Yellowbus, just because people obviously ring him while you're on other calls and stuff like that. So it's just useful just to get everyone used to putting busy, be right back, and you could even put in there, you know, lunch. Now everyone's working remotely, no one knows when someone's on lunch. So just saves everyone wasting time, ringing, waiting on people. You know where everyone is. Don't do that. You've got your Zoom options, and then of course you've got more settings here. Now your settings are just basically generic settings. You get your theme there, your language settings, which should be United Kingdom. That's probably always going to give me United States keyboard because it's Microsoft. Privacy settings, so you can turn on or off read receipts. So if I go back to the chat, you have this little one here that says it's been read. But what you'll see is, so that tick turns to a little C. It turns into like a little eye. So if you have read receipts off, obviously you won't get that. So it's quite useful to have them on. And then surveys, notifications. There's tons of them. So you can pick how you want to see certain notifications. If you want chat messages to just be off, if you get a lot of chat messages, channel mentions, so they're your app mentions. Again, you can see how you want them to appear. As long as there's a banner, you want to show just in your feed with no banner. And yeah, there's loads of things in there that you can change. I'll go to devices. So yeah, this shows you like speakers if you wanted to use them, secondary ringer, your camera if you've got another webcam attached that you want to change, and then permissions, obviously what permissions Teams can use, and then calls. So if your calls are unanswered, you can just do nothing, keep it ringing, you can go to voicemail, you can configure a voicemail message, incoming ringtones, and I'm not even sure what TTY use text to communicate. All right, okay. Use text to communicate over the phone line. We'll turn that off. Cool. So that's basically where you can change all your settings. But this is kind of your central hub for you and where and what you can show your team available, etc. Any questions? Anything you want me to show?
I think that was a really good overview because I think I hadn't realised all the things it could do, and I think now it's just something I have to go away and use. But now you've been through some of the different functionality, it gives me more of an idea of what I could do with this tool and how I can maybe make more of it.
Yeah, I mean, even the search bar, like that's full of little top tips and tools. So obviously you can search for different people in here, but it's stuff like if I'm working on, so if I go back to the documents I was on earlier, and I go to Teams, and this opens it up within Teams. Even here, if I was thinking, oh, I need to ask whoever a question, you can use these little dashes, and it gives you commands that you can use within the search bar. So you could go chat. I'll pick James Parks, he showed up, and you can just send them a message from there. You don't have to leave the view that you're on. Then once, and if he replied, obviously the notification will come up in like the bottom right corner of your Windows screen, and you can reply from there, and you can keep the chat going without having to click on chat.
So if I say I'm working on a document, I've got a question, I want someone who's also in Teams.
Yeah.
I could keep working on my document, I could search in the bar, put something at the top and get that answer in view, which then I could just dump into the document if I needed to.
Yeah. And same if you wanted just to call, if you thought, oh, I'll quickly call them on that, but I don't want to leave, you can call that person. And even if you do that, just the / there gives you so many different things that you can use. quickly from that search bar. So even that gives you loads of functionality, and just the actual Microsoft Teams package as a whole, what it gives you is just so much more freedom to communicate within the team easily. Puts it all in one. And then, sorry, I didn't touch on calls, but calls you can just see your call history, speed dials if you wanted to add certain people there, and then your contacts. But again, I'd have to add them in. But really easy to use, mostly like a dialer. And again, you could just use this to call people and just pick them in, and you can use it for external as well. Me. Comes up. I'll do it. It's not doing it. That should load up. Right, go. That would usually load up underneath and you select the name. It's just not doing it today. If you're on a certain call package, you can call numbers as well. But again, it's a higher up call package. It needs enabling, and then in here you'd get like a dialer, so you get like a keypad within this view, and you can make calls externally and stuff like that. So yeah, but in a nutshell, without going into too much detail because it can do so much more, that's a simple overview of how it works and what you can do.
Brilliant, thank you for that. I think it's something I've just got to use a little bit more and get familiar with, and then but that will make it a lot easier because I hadn't realised there was just so many options within the tool itself. And I think it's nice when someone shows you and breaks it down a little bit, saying, well, actually, this is what this is for, that's what this is for. And yeah, it just made it a lot clearer because I knew I had Teams, but I've kind of been not reluctant to use it, but not necessarily sure of, well, what's its purpose? How can it make my life easier? But I can see how, if I approach it right, it could be a very good tool.
Yeah, to be honest, a lot of people are within the same boat. They've got it, and then they just use it for instant messaging, and kind of that's it. And there's so much more you can do, and especially with now everyone working remotely, people are kind of like struggling on how can we work together? Can everyone work on one document? Can everyone see the documents? And they're kind of batting documents off in between emails, and you're seeing it loads, and obviously it's not secure. Keep your data in one place, your team in one place, and just use Teams. It makes everything so much easier.
Brilliant. No, thank you for that. That's really, really good. It was really helpful. And I think you're right. I think once someone showed you, then you realise what you can do. And I think that's a good point around the security as well, that it's kind of better to, I guess, keep it all within this environment, essentially, is what you're telling me. Yeah. I guess once you know how to use the environment, then you're more likely to do it, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, SharePoint files are encrypted. The data sent in Teams is encrypted at rest and in transit. So it just gives you that added protection as well, rather than using different platforms or third-party platforms. And it's obviously 27001 ISO compliant, along with a lot more compliance, and probably the security subject's probably another topic, but it uses Microsoft 365 security, and as you can imagine, that's a high standard, and Teams just follows suit. So,
brilliant, thank you for that.
No problem.
Stop recording.
Yeah.
Cool.